Ladies and gentlemen, the characters in this update may be all bugged, and in particular, the most expensive of them all, Odin, may be the worst affected by a bug. Now, if I'm talking about the newest update, why am I playing with Scarlet Witch? She's not from the newest update, Alex. She's from like a year or 2 years ago. Well, it's because it's a control test. As you can see here, after about 30 seconds playing with a regular ABX team using double support, that's Nova and Ghost Panther, we scored about 4 million points. I want you to remember that 4 million, because now we're going to go in and you're going to show you how much the score drops when you don't use supports. And this is a pretty well-known phenomenon in Marvel Future Fight. Supports increase damage to supervillains, or increases your attack, or gives you, increased boss damage. And those things all add up to give you more damage, which then makes you, have a higher score, because you're dealing more damage and you're killing mobs faster, and you're dealing more damage to the Frost Beast's HP. But without these supports, she should do a lot less. Now, I'm going to show you this as a control so you guys can see what happens when we apply the same exact logic to Odin, who apparently don't need no supports because he's a strong, independent Asgardian, which is all well and good, but really should not be the case. So as you can see here, even if we generously stop the clock a couple of seconds late, we only scored about 3.5 million. So we're off by about 500,000, and I've sort of replicated this pretty frequently doing my own testing off camera. So you lose about 500,000 points when you drop the supports after about 30 seconds. And obviously that is going to cascade, and you're going to lose more and more points as the fight goes on, right? So now let's go ahead and take Mr. Odin, and we're going to clock in 2 supports. Unfortunately, I still have a level 70 Odin. This phenomenon appears to happen to all variations of Odin, not just tier 4 Odin. So we're going to do the same rotation here. We're going to do 3, cancel 5, delay, cancel 2, 4, and then we're going to rinse and repeat. We pop in the 2 at the beginning there just to try to make sure we nail our proc. And then we're going to do 6, 3, 5, 2, and then 4. Okay, and we're going to, keep the same rotation going, because that's another thing you have to be careful of. And we're going to let this one play out until it's over. It's going to be a little bit more than 30 seconds. Okay, so we get about 2.3, let's just call it 2.3 million. Okay, 2.3 million, you're like, wow, huh, that's pretty good. Level 70 Odin, 2.3 million, cool. So by the same math that we just did with Scarlet Witch, since they're both tier 3, level 70, right? He's got a Judgment, Scarlet Witch has a Mighty Rage. I should see a drop of about 500 points, more or less, right? So 2.3, we should be looking at about 1.8, right? Okay, let's see if we get that 1.8. As long as our Judgment proc never, deviates too much from the norm here, we should see about 1.8. I think I said 2.8, but I meant 1.8. That's 500k less than 3.5, right? All right, let's see. Okay. Weird, we're already at 1.8 and we still have another rotation to go. That's so weird. Let this one play out a little bit, and the procs were a little bit delayed, but the score is basically the same. 2.24, the other one was 2.28. That's really weird. That's a bit of a head scratcher, that shouldn't be. It's almost identical. The score's like it's let's say it's lower, right? Let's say it's 100,000 lower. That's still way off. What is really going on here? Well, other players who have tested this in higher stages, and particularly in World Boss or ABL, Alliance Battle Legend, have the following idea: supports don't work on Odin. And it's a pretty lofty accusation, but it seems to make sense. So that's why I wanted to start the video off by showing you guys what this looks like, because it seems to be the case. So this player here, Lauron73, posted these screenshots. They got 8.54 million with Odin using double supports in Alliance Battle Legend, which happen to be the same supports I was using here. And then using just not two generic characters. These characters do have team-up bonuses with Odin, and they probably strike more frequently for Odin, which is nice. But his score only drops by about 300 or 200,000, not even 300,000, right? It goes down to 8.2. So I'm trying to get them both in the frame here so that you guys can see what this looks like. So his score is not really reflecting what it should, right? This score should be much higher for double support, and what I'm assuming, oh, well, he has an insight in both situations, but yeah, I was going to say assuming no insight. Here is another really good example, and it's probably more obvious in ABX than it is in ABL. He uses 2 supports, and he gets 12.35 million. And then using Iron Man and Jean Grey, which, surprise, surprise, are not supports and do not have a CTP of Insight. You can see here there's 3 custom gear icons. Here there's only 2 custom gear icons. So no supports, which, by the way, is akin to like 70 or 80% increased damage to villains. That's not a small number, plus some ignore dodge and stuff, versus nothing, plus the Insight, and he got 12.2. There's just no way, you know, even if you're not a competitive player, there's just no way that the scores are so close together when the buffs are so far apart, right? You're talking about, you know, it's crazy. Okay, here, to give you guys an example, it's like there's an extra line worth of buffs, right? You see how there's 4 lines of buffs? There's only 3 lines of buffs here. And the reason for that is there's no Insight. There's also no, these red and blue swords. Like, there's so many buffs missing, right? It probably equal to about 100% increased damage to supervillains, which the Frost Beast is a supervillain for the purpose of this, you know, just so you're aware. And this has been tested in ABX for years. And it's just clearly not working. Clearly not working at all. But that's not all, because I did say the characters, plural, in this update were not working. Next thing I want to show you is Malekith. We did a video on him yesterday, and I didn't notice this when I was doing the video, but apparently the end of his 4th skill, he slashes, but there are no hits. I repeat, at the end of his 4th skill, he slashes, but there are no hits. Let me show you. All right, here we go. Just for the purpose of this test, I'm only going to do his 4th skill so you guys can see. There are hits, there are hits, there are hits, there are hits. Okay, you can see the numbers. You can see the numbers. You can see the numbers. And then look at that. Did you see that slash at the end where nothing happened? Let's watch it again. There's hits, right? He's slashing, so there's hits. There's symbiote goo, there's hits. And then right at the end, he slashes, and there are no hits. There's no hits. There's no hits on the boss. There's nothing. You can slow it down. There's no hits on the boss. He does a full slash, and there are no hits. So now you're like, okay, that's kind of weird, Alex, but maybe it's the same in the skill preview. Let's go take a look at the skill preview. Okay, there's hits. You can see the hit counter goes up, right? There's hits, there's hits, there's hits, there's hits, there's hits. Here comes the last slash. Oh, there's hits. Huh, that's weird. Why don't we isolate one of the characters so we can see this a little bit more clearly? Are we sure that there's hits at the end with the final slash? Maybe we're wrong. Maybe something else is going on. We can even zoom in. We'll zoom in again. We'll do it. We'll do it 2 more times. I don't want to zoom in and be accused of like playing with the camera angles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here comes the slash 6. Boom. There's hits all the way up to the end. 56 hits, in fact. 56 hits, and you can just see it from the hit counter, right? So here's the last slash here, boom. And there's still 57 hits all the way to the end. This is really bad, guys. This is pretty embarrassing. Yeah, at least 50% of this update is bugged. At least 50% of the characters in this update are bugged, in my opinion. Odin doesn't seem to use support buffs properly. He's not properly applying them. And Malekith is literally missing damage. He's literally missing hits on his 4th skill. So when I told you that it wasn't the A team and it wasn't the B team that did this update, I'm not even sure if it was the C team. Maybe they're doing some sort of pilot program where they take in interns and high school, computer graphics majors and whatever, and coders and engineers and stuff like that, and they allow them to make these updates. I have no idea what kind of amateur shit is going on here, but it's really embarrassing. And for the main update, it's really not living up to its hype at all. We're less than a week in from the update landing, and people are already basically not logging in because it's so boring. Timeline Survival was really good, and I stand by that game mode, but it's not good enough to just do a game mode if the characters are trash, if the characters are bugged, if the characters are weak. I don't even want to imagine what kind of bugs are making Angela absolutely suck despite a good build. And same thing goes for Enchantress, where she's just pretty much mid and seen as an an insight specialist and a support specialist only. So I urgently hope, and I sort of urge, I shouldn't urgently urge, but whatever. I expeditiously urge the devs to, the real devs, the A-team devs, okay? The devs that are working on Luna's Tier 4 and, like, actual good content. I need you guys to also take a look at this work, because your coworkers, they dropped the ball. They dropped the ball with this update, and they're going to lose the company money, and they're going to make you guys look bad. So, yeah, just fix this shit, man. We got a game to play. That's all. So yeah, if you're unhappy with the update, there's probably a reason why, beyond things just being mid. They're bugged. So yeah, get your insecticide spray. Thanks so much for watching the video. Hit me up down below with in the comments with your experiences on this update, and share the video so that hopefully it gets in front of the eyes of someone who can do something about it, i.e. a dev. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.